So welcome to the show, everyone. It's Friday, and we're going to have a kind of a fun day today. My first guest has been on with me for over 5 years, and she has been a sponsor. She has been on the show and supporting it, and been so wonderful to have her on. I have with me Anna Von Straussenburg. She's the owner of Anna Von Straussenberg CPA. Welcome to the show. I want to thank you for all that you have done for me and the show and being here and all the people that you've helped to listen. Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so delighted to be here. It's always a joy.
Thank you very much. So first off, we always have to do this with everybody that comes on, which is tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, you know, I call myself a backdoor accountant because I actually had gone to college to become a teacher. And so I had a degree in liberal studies, which was perfect because I studied all about history and politics and all kinds of things that are not very useful, you know, unless you're going to become a teacher. And I worked in a private school for a while and had a crazy weird schedule because it was a group home involved in it, and I was working at the group home sometimes. And so I came home from work one day and I had a miserable week. My cat had disappeared. I was just in tears. My husband looks at me. He goes, "It's time you quit that job." He says, "It's just affecting you in so many ways." I'm like crying, going, "But I'm not qualified to do anything. I'm, got a degree in little known and useless facts." and that's how I kind of felt about it at the time. And he goes, "But no, think about it. Remember you took some of those courses at the community college. You took a business course and you learned how to do spreadsheets. And who else does their family budget on a spreadsheet?"
Especially, what year was that?
Well, that was back in 1990, and I was using Lotus 123.
Wow.
Which in comparison to Excel these days, it's just a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
And, you really had to know all these function keys, and you had to know how to write the formulas and everything. And so he said, "You should try to get a job, in a business in their accounting department, or get a job at an accounting firm." And so I decided I was going to go hunt for jobs, and so I lined up 3 interviews, and I'm so thankful I only had to go through 3. I interviewed at a commercial real estate company because I kind of had an interest in real estate. I interviewed for the Santa Barbara corporate McDonald's, and I would have been a wonderful position, but I couldn't imagine telling my friends I worked for McDonald's. Then I interviewed for the accounting firm, and it just felt like the perfect fit. They liked me, I liked them. I had just enough experience, with doing a little, in college I did a little bit of tax preparation, so I had just enough experience to get in the door, and I started off as a receptionist. But it was great because I moved up gradually through the company, and I got to learn about everybody's jobs and how to do it from soup to nuts.
That's awesome.
And it was really awesome. And so.
And I have to ask, is that the place that you worked at where the owner literally
No, that was when I moved to Arizona.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, went back to college and got my degree, got my certificate in accounting that allowed me to sit for the CPA exam. And I sat for the CPA exam, and I passed in 1998. And then I had to do 2 years of experience, so I got my CPA in 2000.
That's awesome. That is.
And so, yeah, and I kind of met a goal I made for myself earlier in the decade. I said, I'm going to get my CPA by the time I turn 40. And we applied for the certificate the week of my 40th birthday. So,
that's so cool.
I'm like, close enough.
But when you're looking for a CPA, you now know her background and what she's done and what she can do. She's awesome. So you can call her and
then I moved to Arizona, and I was working for a boss whose son was studying to be a CPA and got a CPA eventually. And my boss said, "Well, maybe the 2 of you should take over the business." And then Bill, who was his son, said, "Well, I've got my CPA, but I don't really want to be an accountant for the rest of my life." And so he left and got a job with UPS and makes boatloads of money, and he's really buff. He's in great shape because he's like, every day is like a workout, plus he works out at the gym. So anyway, so Jack says, well, would you like to take it over? And I said, yeah, I will. And so we arranged a sale, and he sold me his book of clients. And then, you know, before we actually ended it, he started, the last few years, started kind of mentoring me. Okay, well, this is how you do the billing. This is how you work with clients. This is, you know, and he started giving me clients directly that I just service them kind of without him.
Mm-hmm.
So I built a lot of trust with my group of clients.
That's awesome.
And who are like, almost like family members to me.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So-
Let me tell you, she's all about excellence and integrity in accounting. And she amplifies that. I think you really do.
Yeah, you know, things happen, but you know what? I stand by my work, and if we make a mistake, I will pay the penalty. And I have. And sometimes I'm fortunate I can get it waived. Anyway, and that kind of leads into one of the things I wanted to talk about.
Let's talk about this. Let me tell you something. Sometimes people get checks in the mail and they're so excited, right? But we wanted to ask, has anybody gotten a check, a refund from the IRS that you didn't expect? And what should they do with them?
Yes, I had the situation happen with a client just recently, but it's happened in the past. And if you get a refund check that you don't think you're supposed to get, you might want to take it to whoever prepared your taxes, or if you don't have a CPA, come to somebody like me, and I can get a power of attorney. I can look at the account, I can look at the tax return and see if you're really entitled to it, because believe it or not, sometimes the IRS makes mistakes. And I just read an article this morning that the IRS, you know, if they issue a false refund, they have the authority to go back and collect that back. And they might even collect it back with interest.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And so,
That's not fair.
It's not fair. So you want to get somebody who knows how to talk to the IRS, to either call them or write them a letter. In this case, since you're going to send back the check, you have to write a letter.
Oh, wow.
And say, here's the check back. We're not due this refund. And sometimes it happens in situations where maybe somebody makes an error on a return. We had a client that didn't give us a W-2, and since she was collecting Social Security and retirement, and of that age, I had just assumed that she had retired from that job because she didn't give me the W-2. Well, then we get the tax return done. She gives it to her attorney, and the attorney says, she didn't pick up your W-2 income. And she calls me and said, well, why didn't you do it? I said, because you didn't give me the W-2.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, the IRS saw that withholding and refunded it. But they weren't entitled to it because for some reason the IRS didn't realize that she also had wages we hadn't reported.
And I guarantee you, when somebody gets a check that they didn't realize that they were, but they thought, wow, well, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah, not a good idea.
So what we're going to do, let me tell you something. It is a good idea for you to give her a call. She does free consultations, and she's rated with the Better Business Bureau. Her phone number is 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030. Her website is ArizonaCPAs.com. Let me tell you something, folks. You know, there's a lot of little things that you may or may not know about, and that's kind of like what I love about this show the most, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're going to learn things right here on the show. So it's ArizonaCPAs.com. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Good. Hang on, tickle my
I got you covered.
Yeah, and I just realized I put my phone on silent,
Want
but
that?
I forgot to put that on silent. Thank you. So, it's like, we started talking, I'm like, this isn't a good time to go looking down at my watch. Hopefully it
It's
won't
okay.
ring in the next 2 minutes.
Well, I've had it happen, so don't worry. So I
Yeah.
said, we get a call right now.
Yeah, I was having, where I shut off my phone, but I didn't shut
Let me
off
have
the
that little
watch.
piece of paper.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not on your.
Yeah. I do want to tighten.
So anyway,
Anyway, so,
I think it's important when we come back do you want to just strictly go right to spammy scammy, or do you want to finish off what we were there?
I think I kind of finished that off, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
Yeah.
And for you, I don't know if I've ever asked you this question. What's your favorite part of what you do?
You know, I think the favorite part of what I do is meeting with the clients. I just love getting to know people.
You are a people person.
And, yeah. And then, and then kind of being the teacher, explaining to them what was on their tax return. If people give me the opportunity, I'm glad that some people like to pick up their returns in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can sit down and talk to them about it, so.
I think that's really neat that you do that, because there's so many people out there, they literally just do the work. It's like they're a machine.
Mhm.
And they get the thing done, get their refund, move on to the next. But you're not like that at all.
Yeah, no, I don't. I like to.
You're very hands-on with your clients.
And it's gonna get tougher because people are wanting things electronically now more than in hard copy, so I'm moving towards doing more electronic copies and ditching the hard copies, mostly because I don't like sending them through the mail, because when talking about protecting people, there's so much sensitive stuff, and today the mail's not like it used to be. I've had clients that have received their tax data opened.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's such a
I had
security
a box
breach.
come from me from, go ahead.
And I double tape them and everything, so it's like, wow, they had to really want to get in that. And so they see it comes from a CPA office, well, bingo, there's gonna be social security numbers and all kinds of information, so. And it's so easy to fill in the rest of the information, you
Yeah.
know.
But I find it's hard to go from doing how we do it the old-fashioned way, hard paper, hard copy, to digital, because you get so worried. I
Yeah.
just get worried. I need to have it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna provide it for the people that want it, and the people that don't, I'll just do electronic.
Here we go, ready? So welcome back, everyone. We're talking to Anna right now. I said Annie. I don't think I've ever called you Annie ever. Anna Von Straussenburg. She's the owner of Anna Von Straussenberg CPA. And at the break, we've been now kind of talking a little bit more about things that could happen to people. And one of these right now, we're going to talk about Friday spammy scammy. And I love that because you know what? There's a lot of scammers out there. Let's talk about what you want to say.
Oh my goodness, it is absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I know two people recently, my roommate included, and another friend of a friend, who they were scammed by saying, oh, there's a fraudulent charge on your Wells Fargo. That these two people happened to be Wells Fargo, but it can happen on anybody's bank account. She actually went and looked on her bank account, saw the fraudulent charge, but then she also gets a text message saying there's a fraudulent charge, and she clicks yes. Immediately, somebody calls her claiming to be from an investigation department and saying that we're running a sting on the bank and blah, 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 and we want your help. It was a total scam. And she bought into it. People think, oh, isn't this wonderful? I'm helping. And one of my employees worked for a bank, so she said, no, the banks have internal departments that do that. They have people that go undercover and spot check the branches. She said they wouldn't have a customer do that. And it was a total scam. She was out $1,600, had to redo her bank account, her credit cards, everything, because it was a complete mess. So
And you know what?
never click on a link on an email
never.
or on a text message. You know, just pick up the phone and call the bank number that's listed on your debit card or on your app in the phone. But don't call a number from an email or a text message, because it might be the scammer.
Right. I know a lot of people who are very smart people, and they have gotten themselves wrapped up in something like this. And let me tell you something. I know $1,600 is a lot of money, but you know what? I know people have lost way more.
Oh, yeah.
And it's really sad because, you know, you just don't know, and they're so good at it. and I don't even know if this is the case, but AI has made everything look,
Oh, yeah. AI makes everything look so perfect, and you can't trust any of it. You just have to go directly to the source, don't click on the link, and then report it to the security department directly from you're calling the security department listed in your app. It's listed in there, it's listed on the back of the debit card, it's listed on your bank statements. If you still get hard copy bank statements, there's ways to find it, but don't get it out of an email because you might be calling a fraudulent number.
when we were talking before you even came on about people who can, they can protect themselves. Now, obviously, clicking on anything would be the first step, right?
Oh, yeah, that's the first
But
step.
what else?
Just being cautious, where you use your credit card and your information, being cautious with how much information you give out. I just had an experience yesterday. I was signing up for one of these apps that's supposed to protect your phone, and then they started asking me, and I think they're a legitimate app, but they started asking for permission to read all my emails, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No.
Stop right there. My emails contain confidential information. I can't have a third party viewing my emails.
No way.
Even if it's their computer, that's still too much, So you just have to be careful, even when something is legitimate. Sometimes they're asking for more information than they should. Just constantly be vigilant. I do recommend getting one of those credit monitoring companies. There's a couple of them out there. And I can't remember the names off of the top of my head, but those
LifeLock or something like that.
Yeah, LifeLock, and there's another one.
Identity theft, Identity
yeah.
IQ.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there, and I highly recommend them because they will alert you if there's fraudulent stuff on your account, if somebody's accounts get breached, and so that's a good way to do it. You gotta be careful with some of these apps because you don't know who's behind them.
Right. You give your credit card out to almost everywhere, right? You have, let's say you're buying something from Amazon. You want to change the credit card that you're using.
Yeah.
You're putting that right there. I mean, how many
so-
times have people text their
So you
their
gotta,
credit card number?
you've gotta actually look at your credit card bill on a regular basis. Because I run a lot through, I have a business credit card and I run a lot through there, and I have my personal ones. And keep it down so that you maybe you only use certain credit cards for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know where I charge a lot of my charges, and I check that credit card daily to make sure there's nothing fraudulent.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So that's very important. And so then the IRS said, well, what do you do if you get hacked? If you get your identity stolen? Well, you want to report it to the IRS in case somebody is going to try to file a fraudulent tax return. You have to report it to the Secretary of State in your state. There are special forms to report it to the IRS. You've got to submit and you have to submit all your identifying information, your driver's license and everything when you report it to the IRS.
So wait a minute.
It's quite a hassle.
It's a hassle getting hacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know that I know people who have gotten hacked, and I'm sure didn't do that.
Yeah, and you want to also, regularly change your passwords. Don't use easy to guess passwords. I'm sorry, but most of us are guilty of it, using our pets' names. I know a lot of my clients provide me their QuickBooks files, and I know a lot of passwords for a lot of clients, and I have to tell you that like half of them have pet names. But some of them have been clever and strung them together in funny sentences.
But a lot of people just use their name, and their date of birth, right? I mean,
yeah, you've got to be a little more clever. At least, run some words together, because that's going to make it harder, and put numbers in place of letters or symbols in place of letters.
Mm-hmm.
Like the @ sign's a good one to use for an A. So anyway, but yeah, we're all guilty of it, and and beware where you're putting out your information. You know, Facebook's notorious for running these things. Oh, well, tell us the name of your cat, or tell us the name of your dog, or, you know, there's little quizzes they put out there that are, you know, you think it's from your friend. Well, you know, it's been passed down from person to person to person, and they sometimes ask you that, some of that information, and you know, there's bots out there that are trying to gather that information, because, you know, if you,
It's so easy.
they know what people's habits are, and if you put your dog's name out on the website, you know, too often maybe somebody gets the idea that, well, maybe they can try your dog's name as your password. So at least if you put the password, don't just put the dog's name, put at least some numbers and some symbols, and make it harder for the AI to guess, because hey, AI is out there, and it's out there, and it's here to stay.
It is here to stay. And there's another thing I want to talk about with that, because I don't know if this, we got a couple of minutes here, that does AI, when you're doing your taxes, I mean, are people using that just to, because, you know, that could be done in like what, a half a second?
Yeah.
And what is, should they?
Well, I would be careful, because you know what? I use like the best software out there that I can find. And you know, they have programs that help us like read the information into the tax returns, but it's never correct. We always have to go in and fix it. It speeds up our process a little, but we have to double check it. So, you know, not trusting something to just prepare your tax return without knowing actually what you're doing is not safe. It's not a wise choice, because you may be ending up paying too much tax when you shouldn't have.
Right.
You know, and I know clients who tried to do their own on TurboTax or whatever, and brought it to me, and you know, right off the bat, we found mistakes, and they knew there was a mistake, but they couldn't correct it, so we did it in our software, and it came out with a better answer for them.
That's why you can't do it on your own, and that you should call Anna and have her do them. And I'm telling you, a lot of people think that you need to have a lot of money to have a CPA. No, you do both, you business, you do personal. It doesn't matter. You can be one little person like my daughter that, you know, comes to you, or you can be a large business. She does happen to like complicated returns. I know we're talking about returns and it's July, but as far as we all know in your world, you know, the tax season is all year long. Be careful with spammy scammy. Check her out on her website. It's ArizonaCPAs.com, or call 480-964-4030. That's 480-964-4030.